This podcast contains an English accent that most of our Irish listeners will find offensive. Also, there may be some colourful language that you're going to find less offensive. Now, over to Ryan and Leon. Enjoy the podcast.
Do I think poetry can be used to bridge international relations? Well, yes, of course. I mean, in fact, just look at you guys. To think that there was a time in another life, not that long ago, in fact, when you, Ryan, might have been a British soldier stationed in Ireland, and you, Leon, might have been a paramilitary rebel, because that's just the way things might have unfolded for you in a different era and a different life. And then one day you might have ended up face to face, arms in hand, staring at each other and thinking, how did we get to this? But now instead, together, that kind of stuff is the last of your concerns. Instead, together, you're reconciling people with poetry by talking on your show about concerns that, in fact, we all have deep down. You're reminding us through your show, through your podcast about what matters, and you're kind of spreading the magic. So I think it's no wonder your podcast ranks amongst the top most popular podcasts in Sweden. Sweden is a country that historically played a historical role in mediating conflicts, and actually, you know, your show shouldn't even be called the Poetry's Dead podcast, because you're very much the host of a Poetry's Alive podcast. So I would just say, just keep sharing what you're doing on airwaves, on Spotify and across the world to help bridge international relations, because my view is that you guys are playing a part in doing just that. So thanks.
Alison Mooney, that was the voice of. I am thrilled to receive that voice note from her, and here we go. That's what we're here for. We're here to bridge international relations through poetry and poems. Mostly to talk shy as well, but we are very informed, and it's great to see that, you know, we're reaching people across. Well, Alison Mooney is a fabulous writer. She's a poet. She's actually a speech writer for the European Union. And has she got a poem for us a bit later on, is she? She has a poem for us. Yeah. But she just wanted to send us a lovely little voice now. Very sad of her to do that. I think it's very sweet of her, you know, and it's a really, really nice message. And me and Ryan are gonna have a scrap now later and see who's gonna win, and then we're gonna resolve with poetry. Yeah, afterwards. Fair. Like most friendships, really, you know. Yeah, just back and forth, talk a bit of shy. You know what I mean? But yeah, how are you? I'm very well, I have to say, very well. Been doing a few sit-ups. Feeling strong? Feeling strong. I'm just, you know, trying to get out there, trying to, you know, be healthy and stuff like that. Same. Yeah, like I've been back on the running. We said last week we were running again. It's so ridiculous. Like you were saying about the marathons that you've been doing. Like I haven't ran properly for so long. And it's so embarrassing because fitness, like, it comes and it just disappears so quickly. So if you don't fucking do it, if you don't run for a while and you try to go like, I'll run that 5k that used to, it takes twice as long. Yeah. It's very mean how the body treats you, I think. Yeah, but then, like, you think about, like, when you have a couple of pints in between those runs. Yeah, but the pints are good. The pints are always easy. The pints are nice. Pints are always yummy. They never go, well, Ryan, you know, you haven't been having pints lately, so I'm not going to, you know, help you have a good time as easy as you did last time. The pints is not a friend. You know what I mean? Even though, like, you remember that Dubliners advert, a pint of plain is your only man. It is. Have you ever seen that? It's full of iron. Did you ever see Guinness's strength, and it's because it's full of iron? Do you know there's only 2 breweries of Guinness in the world? I didn't know that. Do you know where the first one is? Here. Obviously. The second one is in Africa. Oh. Yeah. It's Nigeria. Popular in Nigeria. Yeah, my old huge. My old landlord from London, when I was living in London, was Nigerian, and I had a bottle of the stat. Well, it's in a bottle. It's in a bottle. Yeah. It's like a small bottle. Yeah, bottles of Guinness that the Africans love. And like the recipe's like slightly different as well. A bit stronger. It felt stronger when I was younger as well. You were young. Maybe that's the thing about Guinness. You just drink it. And you weren't training as much back then. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about alcohol content and fitness. If you don't keep going, you lose it. You have to train all facets of life. Don't you just? You know, that's why you usually, whenever we run a marathon, you might have a pint afterwards to celebrate, because, you know, you have to train all facets of life. Yeah, you should. You know what I mean?
What are we doing this week, Ryan?
We've got
baby?
loads. Oh my god! So we've got a ton of stuff. We've got poetry from the wonderful Alison Mooney, who we talked about earlier on. We've got you're going to share something from bloody ages and ages ago.
I am, yeah.
Like fucking way before even
TikTok.
photos were taken and stuff.
Before TikTok.
Yeah, before check-ins and likes and all
Before
that.
the fucking light bulb, I think, at this stage is that old. Yeah. It's a classic.
And we got an agony aunt about online dating as well.
Because we're going to get in touch with our feelings.
Yeah, we are. We're going to get down into the weeds.
The electronic weeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the weeds that don't exist.
Into the bushels, the brambles of TikTok.
But we're going to start with a Welsh poet that we mentioned. So remember we got that message from Dan Jones.
Oh, it was Davy Jones.
David Jones. Sorry,
Dave Jones.
Dave Jones.
Because I can't
sorry.
think of David Jones.
David Jones. Oh yeah, David Jones Locker.
Yeah.
Well, we said we're going to talk about two Welsh poets that we both like. One was Dylan Thomas, and the other one was William Henry Davies. And I want to talk about William Henry Davies. He's a Welsh poet. Born in the late 1800s, I think he died in 1941, maybe. And I find him interesting because you might empathise with this. He chose the nomad life. He was actually known as the supertramp.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
His biography is called Adventures of the Supertramp.
I've heard of this biography.
Have you? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was about. Well, obviously I knew it was about tramping around, but I didn't know that was from himself.
Yeah, he was someone who I don't know about choose. No one chooses it, but there were ways for him to get out of the gig of living rough, and he wasn't into it. He liked living on the cusp of society. And he was actually, like, when he was like in his 30s, he was one of the original people that wanted to chase gold. So he moved to America to kind of chase gold from mining, from like gold mines.
Is it
like
a
a gold
prospector?
rush, like a prospector. Wow. Not in the way that I think is in that film, There Will Be Blood.
He's not shouting golden nuggets. You know that one?
Golden.
Remember that cereal?
Yeah, I love golden nuggets. But he would be chasing that dream as he was writing poetry, and supported by local institutions here in Wales and the UK who loved his work. He still just didn't fancy it, would still prefer, and I guess romanticise the lifestyle of someone who is not tied to one place. I think I remember Shane McGowan talking about that a little bit when he was living rough, I think, in London for a little bit, Shane McGowan, and he said he was talking about he actually preferred that lifestyle. He would always gravitate to people that were living rough, and then he would just end up becoming rough, because he loved the lifestyle of someone like a pirate man, like someone who just didn't really have a place, like an abode, like a solid place to stay.
Just imagine Shane McGowan I could actually see him as a pirate.
Yeah, same. He was
and like a budgie or a parrot on his shoulder. On a sword, with a sword and all on his
I
hip.
think the parrot make more fucking sense than him a lot of the time. You should. I was talking to you the other day. I'm reading A Pint with Shane McGowan, which is a list. It's basically a transcribed pub crawl to him and Victoria. His life.
Yeah.
Alcoholic from the age of 8, pretty much.
Yeah. Interesting.
Brought up in rural Ireland, in farms, and went to London and. Oh God! I must read.
Great poet.
Sorry, an incredible poet.
Yeah,
an amazing poet.
Fabulous.
I think Sally McLennan is one of my favourite. Like, if you strip out the music, the story of someone chasing, going to the big city and then coming back to their hometown and hasn't really worked out is beautiful.
Yeah, there's a great storytelling element to it.
Yeah, he's a great storyteller. And so was W.H Davies. And actually, a bit like Dylan Thomas we were sharing the other week, Do Not Go Gently Into That Good Night.
Yeah.
One of the I'd say one of his, though definitely his most well-known poem that he ever wrote is a poem called Leisure. And there's a line in there that we all know. We all know it. And I thought I'd do it for you.
Please do.
So this is William Henry Davies with a poem called leisure. What is this life, full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see, when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see, in broad daylight, streams full of stars, like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance, and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait, till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare.
That was Leisure by W.H. Davies.
He's not wrong.
He's not
You
wrong.
can't be in the hustle. You have to be able to stand and see and feel what's going on in the world and have a good fucking time.
Yeah, and it's just take a moment to enjoy yourself.
Tough though, innit?
Yeah, of course.
Tough when you've got a lot on.
I think obviously if he's the supertramp and like he lives a simpler life, and obviously they didn't have fucking smartphones back then, but like, do you ever spend a bit of time away from your phone in a bit of nature?
Probably not as much as I'd like to be honest.
But you realise how little you need to make yourself happy. And you're like, oh, I just need to like just be alone with my own company with a cup of tea or something, and just be like, oh, this is actually alright. As opposed to like, I need to have this and that and this and that to make myself happy. Just a little, bit of detachment from the hustle and bustle, as we'll say. So I'm going to bring it right down with a nice lovely poem from the annals of history.
Where
I'm
before the Nokia 3210?
I'm bringing it down to 1817.
Was that also a Nokia model?
It was actually Nokia 3230, would you believe?
Yeah, I thought it was.
It was Nokia 30. Only had Snake 1, not Snake 2.
That is old as fuck.
Yeah, man. You could actually it was made of concrete blocks, would you believe?
Could you make music with just like 3 times? Dee 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 do do da 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 da.
Did you ever get them little books years ago? The
Yeah, that's what I'm
monotone
saying.
books? And you had to input all the little things.
Very creative.
Well, Samuel Coleridge was too busy to play with them books. He was too busy writing poems. But
we are far back then.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Fucking
Well,
hell.
he was one of the Romantics. So he helped start the Romantic kind of movement in Britain, and very interesting life. He was friends with a lot of literary people at the time. So
There was a scene.
Well, John Keats was like they moved in the same circles. Wordsworth and all of that as well, or Wordsworth.
I was only reading John Keats yesterday.
Yeah.
I picked up one of those brilliant Penguin Classics, Penguin Classics, and they do these like really like they're about like the size of your palm. They're about £3, and it was the Saint Ives poem. It's a long story. It's a short story really. It's like a novella. But okay, so he was his mate basically.
Well, Wordsworth and all, they all moved in the same circles. They're all that kind of upper echelon of academic thought, we'll say. But he had a very interesting life and ups and downs. Became an opium addict, and he was addicted to opium, and they tried to kind of control that and stuff like that. And from his opium addiction, he actually suffered terrible constipation. And this is a direct quote from Wikipedia. Now, this isn't me, but it says that he had to regularly get enemas to drain things, and it says the thing was
natural enemas,
humiliating enemas. That's what Wikipedia said about
that would
Coleridge.
suggest he's doing it in public. How can you have
town square?
He's squatting in the city centre. What do you mean embarrassing?
I imagine like he's obviously part of the upper class gentry, so it's probably in like the drawing room.
yeah. Sorry, old boy, the billiards needs to stop. I need to shit myself.
Load me a pipe there, Mildred, please. I'm just going to get my enema now. Children, look away, play some piano.
Child, stare at the wall.
Dinner be served in 20 minutes. Just going to close the room. Anyway, back to the culture, back to the... Oh, God, it nearly killed me there. So, I'm going to take an excerpt from his longest poem. So this isn't the full poem because I'd be here for fucking hours otherwise.
Yeah.
This is an excerpt from it, and it's a very, very powerful part of the poem. So it's the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. It's one of the most famous poems in existence, we'll say.
And everyone knows that, like, I didn't really know what the Rime of the Ancient Mariner was, but I've heard that phrase. So we all have heard that phrase.
Of course. And it's like, you know, the common phrase of like the albatross around your neck. So it's like this man, he's a sailor, and they're in an ice jam. There's an albatross appears, and the mariner shoots the bird. And they obviously didn't have a lot of swag back then. He put the bird around his neck, thinking like, look how cool I am. I've got this big fuck off bird.
This was the original rap singer's gold chain.
100%. Like, you know, he was walking around like Mr. T, but it was an albatross.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? So this, and then what happened was, it's obviously bad luck for sailors to kill a seabird. So, because sailors would see often, like, if you see a bird, you'll see land. So if you're out in the sea, so don't go fucking shooting them because they might lead you to land. And this guy kills one of the biggest birds. I think the albatross is the biggest seabird. I'd have to Google it. I haven't, no. Anyway, so the that could be a rumor.
I'm with it.
It's one of my spicy rumors, all right. Anyway, so he kills the albatross, and bad things happen because it's bad luck. So this is part 4, an excerpt from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I fear thee, ancient mariner, I fear thy skinny hand, and thou art long and lank and brown as is the ribbed sea sand. I fear thee in thy glittering eye, and thy skinny hand so brown. Fear not, thou wedding guest, this body dropped not down. Alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide sea. And never a saint took pity on my soul in agony. The many men, so beautiful, and they all dead did lie. And 1,000 slimy things lived on, and so did I. I looked upon the rotting sea and drew my eyes away, and looked upon the rotting deck, and there the dead men lay. I looked to heaven and tried to pray, but or ever a prayer had gushed, a wicked whisper came and made my heart as dry as dust. I closed my lids and kept them closed, and the balls like pulses beat, for the sky and the sea and the sea and the sky lay like a load on my weary eye, and the dead were at my feet. The cold sweat melted from their limbs, nor rot nor reek did they. The look with which they looked on me had never passed away. An orphan's curse would drag to hell, a spirit from on high. But oh, more horrible than that is the curse in a dead man's eye. 7 days, 7 nights, I saw that curse, and yet I could not die. The moving moon went up the sky and nowhere did abide. Softly she was going up, and a star or two beside. Her beams bemocked the sultry main like April hoarfrost spread. But where the ship's huge shadow lay, the charmed water burnt alway, a still and awful red. Beyond the shadow of the ship I watched the water snakes. They moved in tracks of shining white, and when they reared the elfish light fell off in hoary flakes. Within the shadow of the ship I watched their rich attire, blue, glossy green, and velvet black. They coiled and swam, and every track was a flash of golden fire. Oh, happy living things, no tongue their beauty might declare. A spring of love gushed from my heart, and I blessed them unaware. Sure, my kind saint took pity on me, and I blessed them unaware. The self-same moment I could pray, and from my neck so free, the albatross fell off and sank like lead into the sea.
That was Samuel Taylor Coleridge an excerpt from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Pirate Life's getting a lot of airtime on this show today.
Like fucking Jack Sparrow special, this is.
I'd back you in that world than me.
Why, because I've got a beard?
No, just you're a bit more... No, I mean, I haven't done a day's work in my life, and I'm a soft touch. You're not really a soft touch.
I'm softer than a pirate anyway. I don't have scurvy.
No, you don't have
I have on my limbs. No. And my eyes. And I don't have a parrot on my shoulder.
No, you don't.
Although sometimes it feels like it does.
So parrots have had 2 mentions today with 2 different poems.
And we also mentioned Davy Jones.
Yeah. Oh my God. What's wrong with us? That was it's an excerpt, but it's a longer short story, right? Like
so it's actually the original poem is his longest poem he ever wrote, and it is very, very long. That's just an excerpt from it, and even like the excerpt is long enough, but that's just a piece from it. That's like a snapshot out of the original full text.
Gorgeous parts in it though.
Yeah, it's really good. You know,
really
like
lovely,
it obviously shows the horror of marine warfare. You know,
not for me.
But like he gets caught in all these kind of things, and he can't die because don't fuck with the laws of the sea, basically. So, you know, he kills the seaboard and then all his crew get wiped out and he's the only one that's left and stuff. So
what, like with Alison Mooney's voice note earlier on, we're going to share a poem in a sec, but if you had a choice of like accidentally being a soldier or a pirate, which one would you choose?
Oh, pirate.
Pirate all the way.
Although, I don't know.
Living conditions of a pirate is bad, like.
Do you know what, like pirates weren't as good as the movies make them out to be. Because majority of like pirates was all to do with slavery. So like, questionable. I don't really want to get involved in that life, you know.
No, that's not great.
So, but like they've kind of just flamboyant, you know, made them really like colourful kind of cartoon versions of what pirates actually were. But they did obviously wear scarves.
Yeah, but but they seem to be harder than the people they're pillaging and robbing. Which I think that's why I'm a bit more leaning towards the pirate life.
Well, there is like, say, Grace Kelly, who's like a pirate queen of Ireland. Did you never hear about Grace Kelly?
No, I know who Grace Kelly is.
Grace Kelly was an Irish pirate.
Oh,
she was the pirate queen. Yeah, she's buried off she's off the coast of Ireland. She's buried. An intrepid mariner, pirate rebel, shrewd politician, tactician, and female trailblazer. Oh. There are many ways to describe Grace O'Malley. Known as Ireland's pirate queen, Grace O'Malley was born in 1530 into the clan Weevala, a seafaring people based on the west coast of Ireland.
Wow.
There you go.
A female trailblazer.
Female trailblazer.
Pirate world.
Yo ho, me hearties, yo ho.
Yo ho, me hearties.
Although I do like rum.
You do like rum. You do actually.
You'd swear I'm drinking rum right now the way you were saying that. Yeah, you do like rum.
No, look to you going, you like rum, you've got the beers, you've got the eyes.
You're a bit of a swashbuckler.
You are a bit piratey.
Swashbuckler chic.
Yeah, you're more pirate than me anyway. I wanted to share a poem with you. Now, I think it might have been last year. I was at a session in Dublin out of the Lord Edward pub.
Oh, lovely.
I took you there before. The Sunflower Sessions. Great collection. It's a monthly meet. They're still happening. It's the last Thursday of every month upstairs at the Lord Edward. And I met a guy called Sean who like brought to the table, like last episode we talked about like Pat Inglesby and brevity and levity and lightness and funniness and comedy, pulling out the bigger stuff. Sean is that guy. And he did a poem on that night called "The Overexplainer." But all of his poetry is like this. It's like really clever verse. He does stand-up comedy as well as his poetry, and you can tell that like there's a really quick-witted mind behind the words that he's putting out there.
Oh, lovely.
So this is a poem called "The Overexplainer" by Sean Urell. The Overexplainer. I am the Overexplainer, a walking Google in a flesh container. Moustache doubles as a hot air strainer. I am the Overexplainer. Don't get me started, it's a no-brainer. Pose me a question, you'll sure regret it. One thing's for sure, you won't forget it. Humble pie, sure, I never ate it. I am the Overexplainer. Far too wordy to be an entertainer. The hills are alive with the sound of my voice. When I'm not there, all the others rejoice. To blab or to gab is my Hobson's choice. on lengthy spiels, a vocal campaigner, and vows of silence, a keen abstainer. 'Tis I, the over-explainer. Excess lexis, superfluous discourse, this ear-hole polluter's got no remorse. For brevity's sake, you back the wrong horse. A self-confessed unisex mansplainer. Ask me anything and I won't restrain you. This here's the over-explainer. Useless factoids routinely submitted. You nod politely, but your teeth are gritted. To your enlightenment, I'm deeply committed. Pub quiz sharks keep me on retainer. Rhetorical questions, I'm no refrainer. Am not I the over-explainer? Why say it once when it can be said thrice? And opinions must be paraphrased twice. An outflow of info, my crippling vice. My advice to you, don't seek my advice. How can I make this any more plainer? Beware of the over-explainer. The gist is got, but I won't be stopped. Each random fact just has to be topped. Like a dog with a bone, it cannot be dropped. That good first impression long since has flopped. Now signing off on this final disclaimer. Desperately seeking an under-complainer. Yours truly, the over-explainer.
That was The Overexplainer by Sean Urell. You can find him on Instagram, Sean URL.
You can. And actually, Sean doesn't just do amazing poetry and does live stand-up. He actually wrote his first graphic novel that was published last year under his handle or pen name, Turlough Delaney, and the novel's called Fionn of the Fiona. And you can find it on his Instagram. We're gonna share it later on, but it was actually published as a collaboration between him and Sub-City Comics, which is like a popular haunt and spot in Dublin.
Now, don't over-explain it too much.
And a comic is a graphic novel that's usually got letters in, and Instagram is a social media.
There's a great flow to that poem.
Yeah, but it's hilarious as well.
It just builds.
Yeah, builds and
builds. It starts at one, and every time you expect to hear the over-explainer, and it's really, really good, really enjoyable.
If you listen to that live, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
You're amazing.
I was hoping that we heard the voice of Alison Mooney at the start of the show. Alison has given us a poem for us to share, as well as being so sound and quite right. I mean, sometimes I do think that I am paid by the UK government to be in Ireland to be sound, to reforge relations between us and the Irish.
Definitely, of course. Yeah, well, like poetry, I'm getting the privilege to go to the World Poetry Slam in Togo, Africa this year, and they're really, like, on a global level, poetry is fantastic because it highlights people from like all over the world in all different situations, and how poetry is so different, but how poetry is so important for each country and for each culture. And say, like, even for instance, when I was at the Euros, there was a gentleman who was at the front lines in the Ukraine and he was going to go to the Euros to represent Ukraine, missed his train in Kyiv, and the Minister for Culture drove him from Kyiv to Antwerp.
Where the Euros
in 24 hours, it was like 2,000 kilometre journey or something. In 24 hours, with a car that didn't have windshield wipers. He arrived in military dress about an hour before the performance, got up, did his poem, left, went back to the front line.
The power and importance of words and art to
exactly
rebuild bonds.
His poem was about life on an APC, and an APC obviously is, it's like a tank that has the truck wheels. He's a gunner on the NPC.
Is that what he does?
On an APC.
Wow.
So like his poem was about his life and like how you never know what's going to happen on the day. So like it's mad. Like, but it was so powerful to see someone who's literally just come from the front lines only 24 hours ago to there to tell their story and talk about their country, and then went straight back. But like, that just shows how powerful it can be for cross-border relations and building kind of, you're getting poets that would go to different countries, experience different cultures, and hopefully bring some poets back to their own country, or even just some perspectives, and hopefully influence society in a way that You know, by like
Yeah,
culture,
for sure, yeah.
culture helps society move on.
Absolutely.
So, like, you know, you're thinking about poets can. And I'm not saying we're not trying to give. We are the change makers. I'm not saying that,
No,
but
I
like,
wouldn't say so.
you can subtly
Talk about
change.
Pitbull last week, 2 weeks ago.
He influenced a lot of people. You know, made a lot of people go around the world. And I will be going to Africa. I will be going to Africa soon. So, obviously, Alison works as a speechwriter for the European Union and does a lot of kind of cross-border initiatives. Is a poet herself and tries to create kind of poets for democracy kind of events where you get loads of different poets and they're all talking about different countries and different kind of situations. So she sent me on one of her lovely poems. I'm going to read it out. This is a poem by Alison Mooney called Europa. On the 7th day, when all was done, when time had slowed, Europa resting, heard her conscience speak to her. Europa, I listened to you. Cry. Your worry. I heard your distress consume more. Saw the weight of tears on your shoulders. Fears of not being heard, fear of losing out, and fear of change. You grab for more change, clinking down from Nord Stream to Gulf Stream. The rapid loss of climate credits, the rapid charge of war. The rapid games of fake or bullets, the vapid blur to consume more, the rapid strife for civil justice, for not just the white western few, the rapid swirl of a rapid of mistrust, that all took a rapid swipe at your ego stirred from its comfort, and while immortal Zeus flares his bullish nostrils, and paws the land over which, with a grounded hoof he rules eternally, Europa delirious, you flirt with delusions of immortality, basking in faith of virtual reality, greedily grasping your tarnished halo. Europa mortal, Phoenician princess, your temper teases, your pride once more. You say you work hard, that you deserve it, you want more. Your precious prime, your prime promotion, your time to shine, to feel devotion from a perfect partner you have yet to find. You expect your net return. Because most diligently you have obeyed the rule that said you'd be repaid for doing more. Europa, from the age of enlightenment to entitlement, has screen time deflected you from your way. With books and words and digital tools, from pamphlets and prayers to yoga schools, I try to reach a hand out to you. I try to talk to you, Europa. Hand on heart, I try to tell you, for your sake, try Europa. To be grateful for graces and fortunes to flaunt Europa. There is no deserving nor preserving. Rejoice, Europa. You are still the beauty on the globe.
That was the gorgeous poem Europa by Alison Mooney.
You can see why she got a job as a speechwriter, didn't you?
You can, yeah. And I think sometimes I don't know if we forget the value of like things like Europe and the European Union to keep us all as one, because like, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world now that like are conflict ridden. You know, conflicts is on our mind all the time at the moment with what's going on in Gaza, but that was a lovely reminder of like the actual core values of things like Europe, to just as its core foundation, to keep everyone on the same fucking page. Yeah,
definitely. And it's like, as I said, poetry can be used as a medium to express change and frustration in certain areas, and all areas, to be honest. You know, you don't have to be from a war-torn country to be frustrated.
No, of course not.
But it's great to see poets like herself, you know, happen to write such a lovely poem, and obviously using Europa as a medium for the poem itself. It's really, really good.
But like, whether it's poetry or like speeches, like words change movements.
Oh, definitely.
They do. They always will. Like, and whether or not you think that like we're in an era now where, you know, the words that politicians use in speeches are even like, a lot of it is falling on deaf ears, but they do change. They change momentum, and they change perspectives. And the world is just it's essentially decided by the single opinion of a couple of men. So it's important to have wordsmiths like Alison and other people who are writing for the attention of for change.
I was reading a book about like writing in general. And I think it was a college. It was the nuts and bolts of college writing, which is great for writing academically. Oh, yeah. But it has different kinds of obviously tips and stuff like that of what to do, how not to write essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And it says don't use pompous speak. And they said basically what that is what politicians, well, not all politicians, certain politicians would specialise in. They just talk in circles. They just say words. Like, do you ever watch like a politician's speech? Like, there's so many that you have, and you're like, your brain just automatically switches off. It's like they just know, if I just talk for a long enough time, they'd have just forgotten what we were actually asking the question was.
Yeah, and I think that leads an open space for direct talkers to get more momentum, even if their core values don't align with let's say a good example is the far right in like France or the Brexit movement. The voices who are direct, who like the Nigel Farages and stuff, they weren't talking spin. They were being direct, and the direct messaging was not good. but
they spoke directly.
That's why I think the world is leaning to the right, because it's not middle of the ground spin.
But the best orators of history, they obviously spoke directly and spoke with a purpose. They didn't just talk in circles for fucking hours. They had a very clear message of what they wanted to do, whether it be something that we'd agree upon or not, but there are many good, at heart, fundamental good orators, and then there's ones that would have been great orators but not good people. So but it's just the as you said, words change, whether it be for good or for bad. It's
they
just,
definitely do change.
Our agony aunt.
Yeah. So speaking about words that change momentum, so we got an agony aunt problem in, and it's a great talking point. It's a great talking point. The agony aunt problem was, how can I fall in love without re-downloading the apps? Oh, this is perfect pub talk, isn't it? This is like the definitive pub chat debate.
Oh, it is.
The value of dating apps, the problems of dating apps, the kind of horror stories that people have of people that they've met on dating apps.
So I've been to the brewery.
You have?
I've been to the brewery.
You've already gone down and mixed something up
to see the agony aunt. To see she's gotten a trade in brewing beer.
Yeah.
So I went down to sample her wares, and she gave me a taste of a poem.
Nice. Okay, good.
So this is me poem. So I'm back on the hunt, on the game, on a quest, like some silverback gorilla beating his big old horny chest, as Elton wrote, the bitch is back and I'm just getting started. It's been exactly 13 days, 6 hours, 17 minutes and 9 seconds since my missus departed, but fuck it, I'm single, like the last salt and vinegar Pringle. Gonna jingle more bells than that old fat fuck Chris Kringle, because I have something new that didn't exist here last time. Now I can download an app and chat to other singles while getting pissed at home on wine. Gonna tip on Tinder, burst onto Bumble, stumble onto Hinge, and emerge the new king of the dating jungle. With all my might, I'll swipe left and swipe right like a windshield wiper, and when I have 40 people to chat to, I'll go out all night hitting targets like a fucking sniper. But it isn't what it seems. More artificial and superficial now. I'm not looking for the woman of my dreams, just a bit of fun, mind you, but I've been ghosted by hundreds, left on red here by thousands. I can't even get a like and left here with no funds also. Why does nobody look like their profile picture? I thought I was going out with Barbie, but I got Shrek's ugly sister now, I'll be honest. I did throw a filter on mine, sucked in the gut and used a photo from my prime, but hours on apps, talking to strangers online. I didn't think it'd be so bloody difficult, and they suggested I use Grindr next time.
That was the story of everyone's experience with online dating, using dating apps. Back to the Grindr by our very own Leon Dunn. I think you summarised it all very succinctly.
Thank you very much. But it wasn't me, it was the agony aunt. It's not me.
Well,
the agony aunt is over in the brewery, you know.
Well, I hope that helped.
I think it helps, you know. But apps were very strange. Like I remember, like that. I went on. I was in a relationship, and then when that ended, dating apps weren't around when I got into the relationship. So I remember being like trying to learn how to use Tinder when I was 24. Like, and like I'd never used this before. And then like you kind of go like, oh my god, people are liking my. But then after a while, like, fucking something like, oh cool, you know. And you just get kind of jaded very quickly. Like,
but I think that's what it is now. I think most single people have online dating apps as something that's on their phone. The same way like TikTok is and Instagram is. Like, I don't think there's a conscious person who's single on dating apps, which is the problem with this person, because this person is in that amazing period of their life where like, right, I've done the work, I'm ready, come on dating apps, give it to me, and then they're going to go into that room and go, oh,
yeah,
no one cares.
Nobody cares about me.
I'm being breadcrumb left, right and centre. No one's particularly that interested. No one's conscious. And also I'm trying to, you're relying on strangers, which is like not a good thing, because strangers have no accountability of being honest, so they could be saying anything they want.
But also, you're only talking to those people because you like their photos.
Not very good.
There's not like, you don't see their information out that they like dogs before you see their face. They just show you their face, and then you go, oh yeah, they're alright.
That's
face. Look at that. Face that. Oh, they like dogs? Cool. Don't even care if they like dogs, just like their face. Because that's initially what it is. It's not like, here's a little bit of my personality. Oh, I also happen to look like this, which would probably be a bit more.
And maybe, like, you know, there's so many individual stories of success of dating apps. It's hard to know if they are good and if they are not. But what I might say is Hinge is a good one because it allows you to share a voice note, and people who want to take it seriously can. I think the problem with the other ones is you don't know if anyone gives a fuck. if they not. But with the options of, like, you know, the whole Bumble thing of, oh, the woman can message first. That's over. No one cares. That's gone. They've got to change that. But at least Hinge, you can give a snapshot of.
What if you're a lesbian?
Well, I'm not. We need to find one.
Because
do you know one?
Like, then they get all, what, a lesbian? Yeah, of course I know lesbians.
Wow, the lesbians.
Lesbians. Hang on a second, I'll get my directory. No, but like,
we need to ask them. I don't know what it's like if you're a lesbian.
I'm sure, it's just like you can just talk to anyone, really.
Oh yeah, it's free reign.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure there's not. Then I don't know.
It's like on Bumble? My mate, remember me telling me before, Grindr's like going on Just Eat. You just it's not that difficult. I've never been on it, but I was like, that's not
I've heard the same. I don't think it's difficult, but it's
a shame we're straight, to be honest.
Very difficult to find something if you want something. I think that's the message.
If you're looking for emotional connection, don't go on Grindr.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair.
I don't think people are going on Grindr looking for that.
No,
they're going on for a doner kebab
and a lift home,
a can of Coke, maybe,
a spare bed. Don't go on Daft. Just go on Grindr.
I'll go on Craigslist if you want to get a serial killer.
Oh god, yeah, jeez.
People like look for people on Craigslist. They put out like a Lonely Hearts thing. Like the people, yeah, you can go. Oh, it's mental. If you're in Berlin, go on to Craigslist and look at like this mad stuff on German Craigslist.
I say German Craigslist is the worst kind of Craigslist as well. Just mad bastards.
Yeah, Berlin. Go to Berlin and go on to Craigslist. Honestly, it's an experience. You could get at 'em. Not that you'd want most of it.
No, you would want most of it.
But you could get it.
We've still got the poetry competition running with the poetry edit, so if you are still on the fence, you're like, oh, I want to write something, I want them to read it, but you haven't, please do. We're going to reshare the link to the submission form for them lot. You know, as always, we'd love to hear from you, so drop us an email if you are back into poetry and you're back into that world and you know you're excited about it. Let us know. Keep across our TikTok and Instagram. TikTok, I saw a great comment the other day on that Irish funerals TikTok video that we did, where you shared the absolute truth of the history of the Irish wake, and it was someone
according
that said,
to a reliable source.
Absolutely, you.
No, it was
you are reliable.
But it's a source, like a journalist. I can't name it.
You can't. No, I'm not asking you.
But it's a reliable source.
But the comment was amazing. Not one word of this is true.
That's the joy of the internet. Everybody has an opinion.
That's the holy grail.
Not that their opinion was right, but they have an opinion.
Yeah,
they're entitled.
Yeah, we all do.
My reliable source would be devastated to hear that. Luckily, it's not me.
Keep it stum. Mum's the word. Leon, thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure, never to chow around, baby.
See you in a bit.
Ciao, ciao.